What is the hierarchy of courts in Malaysia? My name is Daniel Abishegam and I'm a senior lecturer and academic director at ATC. So generally you start off at the lowest level in Malaysia. It's called the Magistrates Court. There is Magistrates 1, Magistrates 2, and then even below that there's the Mahkamah Penghulu, but I'm going to stick to the more mainstream courts, right? So you've got the Magistrates Court, and then you've got the Sessions Court above that, then you've got the High Court, and then you've got the Court of Appeal, then you've got the Federal Court. That's the hierarchy from the lowest to the highest. Now what's the difference? The Magistrates Court, the Sessions Court, and the High Court is what are known as first instance courts. Cases are brought in for the first time into these courts. Whether it goes to the magistrates or sessions or high court depends on the complexity of the case, the subject matter of the case, the amount in question of the case. So the magistrates court will be for cases where the amount in question is much lower or the potential jail time is much lower, and then sessions court is higher and then high court is higher. The Court of Appeal and the Federal Court obviously are appellate courts. So what happens is those are courts where you appeal to. So they don't have first instance jurisdiction, they only have appellate jurisdiction. So they hear appeals. In our system, which is the common law system, the Court of Appeal and the Federal Court are the more important courts because their decisions also stand as law.
What do you mean by that?
In the common law system, which we inherited from the UK, the laws are not just the acts of parliament that you see. Sometimes there is no act of parliament in that particular area. So the case and how a particular case is decided then becomes law. So what the federal court judge has decided in a particular case, if there is no act of parliament in that area, that case becomes the law that needs to be followed, right? Or if there is an act of parliament in a particular area or the constitution, it's how the courts interpret that act of parliament that becomes the proper way to interpret the act of parliament, right? So you cannot say, oh no, my opinion is that that law should be interpreted differently. That can be your opinion, but the law is what the federal court has determined. The cases that are heard, the judgments of the federal court and to a slightly lesser extent the Court of Appeal is very, very important because they form part of the law of the land.